Day 3 of the long phone trip from Farmville to Atlanta began with Lexington, and now I'm on my way to my next destination, Saluda, South Carolina. I'm driving along Highway 378 and out in the middle of nowhere at a traffic circle intersection between two highways. There is a Bell System payphone. Now, of course, this trip is about independent places, but this Bell System payphone in the middle of nowhere might be interesting. Let's go and see what we get. I'll put my coil on here. All right, let's pick up the phone. Whoa, that is a hummy phone line. This must be really far from the CO. Now, it is a prepay phone. I have to put in a dime to get a dial tone, and the hum that we hear when we pick up the phone is... yeah, that's an indication of a long phone line in an unbalanced condition. Once we get a dial tone and start dialing, there won't be quite that much hum on the line. Let's dial our own phone number here. Well, this line definitely has some extra equipment on it. A range extender, as I later found out. I didn't know about these in the 70s, but I sure was hearing one. The range extender has some telltale effects that it makes during times when the phone line doesn't have the 48-volt talk battery on it. This being a prepay coin phone, anytime the line is completely idle, the normal 48 volts that is used to power the mouthpiece is just not there. If you talk into the mouthpiece, you don't hear yourself in the earpiece, at least not very well. Now, that's just normal for a prepay phone line like this one. But the range extender is producing artifacts in response to there being no talk battery on the line. I can give you an example at the end of that last call. I'm listening to the busy signal. I hang up on it momentarily. When I pick up my hook switch, we hear the equipment in the CO doing a coin return. All of that is normal. Hear that hum at the end? I'll do it again. That hum ought to just continue until I either hang up the phone or put in another dime. But what it actually does is... squeak? That's the range extender. It's not designed to do that. It's there, and that's a byproduct of its operation. It's designed to operate when people are talking on the phone and listening to dial tones and stuff. But when the line is going from no talk battery to talk battery and back, that's when the range extender is making weird artifacts. Another place where you hear it is that the background hum increases in an unexpected way just before dial tone is coming on. That right there, where the hum got louder before the dial tone, but after the dime. That normally does not happen on a prepay phone. It's a meaningless but noticeable effect of the range extender. It's an amplifier, and it just doesn't work normally when the talk battery's missing. So you hear it doing some weird things, going from no battery to battery and then back again. The next call I dialed was an intra-office ringing number. I'll start the tape with hanging up on the busy signal again. This office is a Bell System 355 step with the oldest type tone plant. The first wave of 355 steps being installed had this kind of a dial tone and ring, and then some later ones had a different type of dial tone and ring, the one that sounds like this. But this is the older type. Let's dial 0, which goes to a chord board, and ask what offices are local from here.
Operator.
Can you tell me what exchanges I can call locally from here?
What exchanges from Batesburg, Pine Branch, and Ridge Springs?
Pine Branch and Ridge Springs. What are the codes there?
What do you mean the codes? The
first three digits,
Okay,
yeah.
Pine Branch is 657,
Mm-hmm.
and Ridge Springs is 685.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Operator.
Here's a single digit going to the local vacant level recording.
We're sorry. You have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number or try your call again. We're sorry. You have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number or try your call again. We're sorry.
The office code here is 532. The community name is Batesburg. The operator said we're local to 2 other places, so let's try 685 Ridge Spring. Strange. I dialed 68. We went into another office. Then I dialed the 5. That's a valid third digit of the office code. But we got a reorder. I've since reset the trunk. Let's try a 2. Immediate reorder. That means this is a Stromberg Carlson XY that we have connected to. 68 goes to the XY. 2 goes to an immediate reorder, which is fine. It probably is where one of the 1,000 groups is located, and they want you to dial the third digit of the office code, 5, before you can cut into it. So I've reset the trunk again. Let's dial a 5.
The number you have dialed is incorrect. Please consult your directory or dial information for assistance. The number you have dialed is incorrect. Please consult your directory or dial information for assistance.
This makes no sense. Let's hang up and start over dialing 685.
The number... The number you have dialed is incorrect. Please consult your directory or dial information for assistance. The number you have dialed is incorrect.
685 is just not dialable from this coin phone at this time. The reason is that the incoming selector that we keep getting over in Ridge Spring is wired wrong. It's okay to have a vacant level on 5. That's not the problem. The problem is that 5 is supposed to absorb. When you dial the 5, the selector is supposed to reset and go into a different mode where you can then dial the last 4 digits and not get that immediate reorder like this. Right, that's what happens when you haven't dialed the 5. But it's responding incorrectly when I do dial the 5. So I can't call 685. Oh well. Nice tone plant, though. That reorder tone is from my favorite type of independent tone plant, the St. Thomas tone plant. And when we dialed the 5, you could even hear a burst of that as it erroneously was cutting into the recording.
The number you have dialed is incorrect.
No, it isn't. Anyway, let's try calling the other local office, Pond Branch, 657. Okay, so on 657 Pond Branch, we cut into the distant office on the 3rd digit, so we're there. Listen to the subtle noises when I dial the thousands digit. Well, maybe that was too subtle to point out, but there was a burst of Stromberg low tone, the kind that sounds like this. And also, the metallic sound of the selector was very high-pitched, indicating this is another Stromberg XY, and its busy signal and reorder tone go. Anyway, here's the rest of a 7-digit number. Squeak? Okay, let's try to get a Pond Branch ringing number. On the next call, I'm dialing 65731.
The number you have dialed is not in service at this time. Please consult your directory or dial the operator and ask for information. This is a recording. The number you have dialed is not in service at this time. Please consult your directory or dial the operator and ask for information. This is a recording. The number you have dialed is
That recording, of course, came from Pond Branch, right? No, probably not, and I will explain why. Pond Branch is clearly a Stromberg Carlson XY. That's a kind of step, but it's made by Stromberg Carlson, and the inner workings of the selectors are different. But other than that, it really is step. And you can hear that it's a Stromberg XY by the first digit that we dial into the trunk. Listen. Now that is an XY selector cutting in this case the digit 3. But then when we dial the next digit to go to that recording,
the number you have dialed is not in service.
That is not an XY or step noise. Now there might be an XY or step noise there, but we sure didn't hear it. What this says to me, along with other evidence which I'll present in a minute, is that this office, Pond Branch, actually allows you to reach other offices through its incoming switching train. This is rarely seen, but I have seen it in about 5 or 6 places, and this appears to be one of them. I literally can make calls to certain places which are long distance from here by dialing certain codes through Pond Branch, using it as an intermediary switching point to avoid the long-distance network and its charges. Basically, there were certain offices that are local calls from Pond Branch that aren't local calls from here, that you can sneak through Pond Branch to reach. I just didn't stand there at that coin phone long enough to do the research to figure it out. Now, from analyzing the tape, I've come to the conclusion that 657 Pond Branch has a ring like this, and a busy signal like this. And we got that by dialing numbers in the 657-5000 group. The busy signal matches the sound of the selector cutting in. Okay, so that's the real Pond Branch busy signal. Also, we got it on 7 digits. But of course, as I often do, when I first started calling Pond Branch, I was trying numbers in the 2000 group, because the 2000 group is very often assigned. But the results I was getting dialing 6572 were not expected. Here's what happened when I dialed a 6572 number. There, now that was the 4th digit of the number, 6572 something. The 2 made a Stromberg XY cut-in noise, and we should be in a position to dial the last 3 digits of the number now. So let's dial 2 more digits. Okay, 1 more digit, and it ought to start ringing. Here's the last digit. It isn't ringing. Care for an 8th digit? There we go. Not only does it take 8 digits to get this ringing, but this is not the same toneless 657 ring we got earlier. This is a St. Thomas type ring. Will the real Pond Branch ring? Please stand up. Nope. Yes. This is coming from some other office that is local to Pond Branch and not local here. It's an office code that has a 2 in it. That's pretty much all I know, except that Pond Branch and the other 2 offices we're reaching through it, one of them on 2, the other on 3, are all independent because those rings and that recording we just heard,
The number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
that is not Bell System equipment. Standing there at the payphone in March '77, I tried to figure this out. I was looking at the map and I saw that Saluda was nearby and appeared to be an independent place, so I decided to find out what the office code in Saluda is.
Can I have directory assistance for Saluda?
Thank you. West City.
Saluda.
One moment, I'll connect you. Directory assistance, operator 79.
Do you have a number for time of day service in Saluda?
For what?
Time of day service.
Thank you. As far as I know, they don't have a time service in Saluda.
Okay, do you have a number for the Chamber of Commerce in Saluda?
Yeah, chamber. No, so I don't have anything for a Chamber of Commerce either.
Okay, do you have a Saluda town government? Or, you know,
Probably have a Saluda town of.
Okay.
You want to know what time it is in Saluda?
No, I'd like to, that's another point. I'd like to know the main number for the town.
Let's see. I thought maybe if you want to know what time it was, I could tell you.
Yeah, it's the same as the time here.
Let's see. So checking under Saluda County up, I do see a Chamber of Commerce. You still want that number?
Yeah.
Okay, that's 445-7032.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
"445" is the code for Saluda. In fact, that's our next stop. But it is not either of the two mystery offices that we are reaching via 657 Pond Branch. Now we know the mystery office on 657-2 rings like this. And there was one call on the tape where I got its vacant level recording, or maybe it isn't a step, vacant whatever. But I got the recording, and I foolishly hung up on it too soon. Here's dialing 657 for Pond Branch, 2 for that mystery office with this ring, and then something vacant. Of course, the reason I hung up so fast is because I thought I'd heard that before, but I hadn't. It was a similar recording done by the same person. Here's the recording from the mystery office on 2 that we heard the beginning of. And this is from the mystery office on 3.
The number you have dialed.
See, it's a different recording, same person. My mistake. So there really are two towns that are long distance from here that can be dialed locally thanks to the permissive switching train on the incoming side of Pond Branch. I just didn't know which towns they were. And if I'd wanted to take the time, I could have found out, probably by just bothering random people, which wouldn't have been so bad because it was late morning by the time I was doing this, and ask them, hey, what town is this? But I didn't want to take the time or spend the dimes. So the mystery remained unsolved until January 2020, when Jeff Campbell, who has been paying attention to the details of phones for decades, listened to an earlier version of this program, did some research, and suggested that the office on 2 might be 892. Well, as it turns out, I know of 892 because it's one of the local calls from Lexington, our previous stop. The narrated program of that part of Lexington hasn't been prepared yet, so I hadn't gone through the tapes. When I did and checked the intercept recording, it's an exact match. The mystery office on 2 is Gilbert, 892, which we call into from Lexington, the previous stop. The recording matches perfectly. Another thing which to me seems a little strange, but again, it's absolutely certain. The mystery office on 3 is Pelion 894. I know that because the recording matches perfectly to the calls to that office made from Lexington. So the two offices have been identified in 2020. Thanks, Jeff, for putting me onto this. Before I left, I decided to make one more call to the mystery office on the 2 level of Pond Branch, which we now know is 892 Gilbert. I'll dial 657 and then 2, and then the last 4 digits of some number in that town. the flash has reset some trunk, I'm going to dial 4 digits beginning with 1. And that got a number ringing in Gilbert 892. The long flash there actually reset the second trunk, the one from Pond Branch to Gilbert, formerly known as the Mystery Office on 2. Well, that's all I recorded at that payphone out in the middle of nowhere at a traffic circle with almost nothing. The next stop is Saluda. It's a Stromberg Carlson XY that has TSD. So it's a little bit like the Fayetteville, Pennsylvania stop on the August 1976 trip. That's the next stop.